right before change, right before expansion. A person finally prepares to speak up, and the mind whispers, "What if you embarrass yourself?" A person finally prepares to pursue a dream, and the mind whispers, "What if you fail?" A person finally starts becoming visible, and the mind whispers, "You're not ready." But here is the important realization. Those thoughts are not necessarily truth. They are protective mechanisms attempting to preserve familiar identity. Limits repeated long enough become invisible. Now think about how many opportunities people abandon because unfamiliarity creates temporary emotional discomfort. Entire futures disappear because fear is misinterpreted as guidance. That realization changes people when they truly understand it, because suddenly fear no longer automatically means stop. Sometimes fear simply means you are approaching unfamiliar territory, and unfamiliar territory is often where growth lives. Pause for a moment and think about this honestly. How many possibilities have you avoided because your nervous system interpreted unfamiliarity as danger? How many times did you retreat back toward old patterns because they felt emotionally safer? This is one of the deepest hidden mechanisms inside the matrix. The system does not need to imprison people externally if internal conditioning already limits perception, because perception determines behavior, and behavior determines reality. Now consider confidence for a moment. Most people think confidence comes before action, but that is rarely true. Confidence usually appears after repeated exposure. A person acts despite uncertainty, survives the experience, and gradually the nervous system updates its perception. That means confidence is often built through evidence, not waiting. But many people never collect the evidence because limitation convinces them not to begin. This creates a psychological loop. The person avoids action because they feel uncertain. Then the lack of action reinforces insecurity. Then insecurity reinforces limitation. And eventually the cycle feels permanent. But it is not permanent. It is practiced. And practiced patterns can be interrupted. The moment you observe a pattern, you weaken its control. That sentence matters deeply, because awareness creates separation. Instead of saying, "I am a fearful person," you begin noticing, "I am experiencing fear." Instead of, "I am incapable," you begin noticing, "I am rehearsing limitation." This small shift changes everything psychologically, because identification weakens observation, but observation weakens conditioning. The moment you stop fully identifying with limiting thoughts, their authority begins collapsing. Now, this does not mean the thoughts disappear immediately. It means you stop obeying them automatically. That is freedom, not the absence of fear. Freedom from unconscious obedience to fear. And the more consciously you observe your patterns, the less power they hold over your behavior. This is why awareness is transformational, not motivational. Transformational, because awareness interrupts automation. Now imagine someone who spent years repeating, "I'm not good enough." Every challenge becomes filtered through inadequacy. Every opportunity becomes emotionally threatening. Every setback becomes confirmation. But the moment the person begins observing the thought instead of becoming the thought, space appears. And in that space, new possibilities emerge. This is how perception begins changing. Not through forced positivity, not through pretending fear does not exist, but through conscious awareness.